but I'm here. So let's see who we have. Let me just get everything set up really quick. I was just doing a live stream for the community members at my side, at my overall membership community. Let me just make some quick changes here. But we're going to look at some pretty cool stuff. Let's just jump into some things. Hold on, guys. And like always, this is more of like a Q&A session. If this is your first time joining, my name's Jose Najarro. I cover the semiconductor market. I cover the AI market. If you're curious about my thoughts, just post questions here, and I'll gladly try to answer them. By no means always going to be right, but I think I know a thing or two in this space. So let me just share screen. Let me just close up. I was late because we were on some discussions. Let me share screen. Window. All right, I'm going to do this screen. Hopefully I don't have anything private open. And let's start looking at chat really quick. How do I look at chat? Ah, man, I'm a noob here. So excuse me. People here. I had it yesterday. Why are you not working? Oh, here we go. Chat. All right. I'm back. This time for real. So stream, and actually, we gotta put the brand on. Let's put the overlay. Make sure to join what the chip happened. What's going on, Shri? What else do we have? So yesterday I tried to answer all the questions, but unfortunately I couldn't. Hopefully today, maybe we can. What's going on, Silva? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're at. What's going on, Lavonte? I'm gonna put Lav. My apologies. What's going on? Shri, Jose, are you following on the mid's footsteps of being late? I hope not. I'm gonna be better. I promise I'll be better. It's only day 2. You gotta give me some break. Reyes is saying good morning to the beautiful people. Good morning to the beautiful people out there. Andrew, good morning. Pars, Jose, great to see you live streaming more. I hope I keep the momentum, right? Inject some copium into my veins, please. Right, Wilson, is the market down? I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, CoreWeave is up. CoreWeave was up. That's good, right? Some other stocks were up too. I'm hoping. Simon, what's going on, Simon? What's going on, Robert? Let's see what we have. Just from an operational standpoint, how is CoreWeave and Nebius different, and who has the operational advantage? Oh man, you want to make enemies already? I mean, I like I like CoreWeave. I like Nebius. Both companies I own. I own a lot more CoreWeave. Operation standpoint, I think the biggest difference, if you're just on the top level, the biggest difference is CoreWeave has the biggest AI infrastructure out there. I think if we look at capacity of active power, it's closer to 600 megawatts in the last type of earnings, and I think Nebius is expected to have 200 megawatts by the end of their most quarter, so by the end of December. So I think first is just sizing. Now with sizing, it matters because it determines on who your customers could be. CoreWeave focuses on building massive AI infrastructure, and their customers typically are just the massive players. Your OpenAI, your Microsoft, your Google. Runway, I think, was a recent one that they announced. So it tends to be very focused on just big players. Where Nebius, because you are a little bit smaller, you're able to actually have a lot of more enterprise plays with it. So I think on the top level overview, that might be one on the operational forms of the data center. And I knew what I was doing there when I said that, Griffin. I'm just that good. But that could change over time. That's where we're at right now. But things can change over time. And obviously Nebius, or however you guys call it. You have the AV ride. You have the other investments in other AI plays. You have the massive focus in Europe as well, while they are expanding in other places. Uh, and you have a stronger full stack solution, especially with software. But that's something that more enterprise players need, opposed to what kind of some of these massive AI companies need. So, um, while they're both AI data center infrastructures, at least for right now, the customer loads are different, the sides are different, and the overall markets are different. Like CoreWeave is just 100% AI data centers. Nebius, most of their revenue comes there, but they do have those other avenues that can grow dramatically as well. So hopefully that answers. Why is the market getting hammered? Is the market getting hammered? I guess so, right? All right. Yeah, most chip stocks are down. CoreWeave is up, even though it's not a chip. CoreWeave is up 3.5%. That's all that matters. AMD is pretty much flat. Um, Nothing there. So AMD is pretty much flat. What is Nvidia doing? Nvidia is down about 2.3%. But most stocks are down, right? That's definitely. What about some of my top plays? Nebius is down 4%. Well, CoreWeave is up 3.5%. I think sometimes the market is just, I think Nebius gets more, I think Nebius goes up a day before CoreWeave, and then CoreWeave follows the late day after. And then the other thing happens. Nebius, I think, and some of these other AI players tend to drop a day before. CoreWeave is just a little bit of a lagger. There was also some good news coming out from CoreWeave that I will kind of discuss in a bit. But let's see what we have. Robert, did I say hi to you, Robert? What's going on, Robert? Junior. Any thoughts on ALMU or photonics semiconductor companies? I'm not familiar with this one. So what I'm going to do is take out my marker, put it on my little blackboard here, and ALMU is one that we're going to look at. Jake, can you explain what's happening today in the markets? I wish I could, Jake. I don't know anything. Marian is talking about it. I think there's a lot of uncertainty right now with tariffs, right? I think there's some tariffs decision happening. I'm guessing there might be some macro events, stuff I don't cover, right? Hopefully, if you guys watch Amit, he probably gave you a lot better, definition. And Simon, Simon here, biggest active power. Talk to me back end of 2026, labs in iron. So that is true. I think active power in data center needs, right? I think iron has the biggest active power, Simon, but I think they're including a lot of their Bitcoin mining in there. And I think they're saying, I don't follow iron much, so maybe you can correct me in that. I think they have the biggest active power, but they are including their crypto facilities in there, crypto mining facilities in there. And I think eventually they're going to transfer it to HPC and AI. But at least where we're at right now, I can safely say that the biggest AI active power is CoreWeave. Let's see what we have. So I don't have any thoughts there, JR. But let's see, what else do we have? So no thoughts. Jack, hello. Hispanic Neo. Neo could just be the European Jose. I mean, why can't it be like that? Nice to have your support, Shri, on Red Days, buying anything on discount today. I haven't really looked at much, Shri. The biggest thing I would say is Meta has been grabbing my attention in forms of, and it's a boring play, right? Meta has been grabbing my attention, and Marvell has been grabbing my attention. So Meta and Marvell are two on my high list right now. I don't think any of, how's Oracle doing? Maybe Oracle? I haven't looked at Oracle. Maybe Oracle. But AI investments, CoreWeave, Nebius, all those are up a nice amount since their lows. I haven't, none of those are grabbing my attention. AMD and Nvidia I have plenty of those, so those aren't grabbing my attention. Amazon, not much. Still one of my favorites, but it's definitely 230, maybe Amazon then. So I'm not pulling anything right now. I don't think there's a massive sell-off for me to buy anything. Ones that have caught my attention that I don't own are I used to complain about this being extremely expensive. While it still is extremely expensive, it's pretty interesting to kind of see it back into those April lows. I haven't followed the company. I'm gonna guess SoftBank is offloading to pay for a lot of OpenAI and is creating some selling pressure here. But it is unique to see ARM at kind of those levels we saw in April, right? So that one's catching my attention, and other ones that are catching my attention, but I don't own and not pulling the trigger anytime soon are Credo and Astera Labs, right? Both of these are actually down a nice amount in the past few days. Broadcom. I also saw Broadcom, right? Broadcom was down a nice amount today, 5%. It seems like the AI story is ending again, which now that I think about it though, Credo, Astera Labs, and Broadcom down. I'm gonna guess there's something happening in the networking market that people are scared of. I don't know, Broadcom here. Broadcom stock slides after reports China told firms to drop VMware and other foreign cyber solutions. So that I guess that's the biggest thing happening here with Broadcom. I don't know how much VMware is a market for China. Let's go to fiscal.ai really quickly. And again, I'm trying to answer questions, so we're gonna look. I wonder if they break it down. Let's look at Broadcom. Outside of a red day, hopefully everybody's doing pretty good. We got Josh. Good morning. Good afternoon. We got Simon here. Market is likely volatile due to the expected results of tariff gate plus many macro numbers pending. Wait a few days. LO. Yeah, I think like Simon mentioned, I don't think I'm going. Today is not something I'm buying. It's not a buy day for me. But I'm definitely not going to sell anything. I'm not going to have a freak out. I didn't even know the portfolio was down until you guys broke the bad news to me. How dare you? All right, Jack says like to stream. Microsoft to buy. I mean, I think Microsoft is the Mac 7s are good long term. In forms of the Mac 7s, I enjoy Nvidia, Meta, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Tesla, Apple. I think in that order. So Microsoft right now, it's not one I too excited about as buying, but it doesn't mean it's a bad. It's just I prefer some of the other Macs instead. Let's look at financials. I want to see if they break it down by region. So Asian, but not necessarily revenue. This is interesting. Is this really true? This can't be true. There are issue here. Let me look at quarterly. So Asia Pacific, but I guess it all depends on where they get sold, right? And then they get built. Because this tells me, right, Asia is a huge market for Broadcom. Am I looking at Broadcom? Yeah. And America's is low. But I guess it's all where the product gets shipped at, not the actual company itself. And the infrastructure is a big portion, 7 billion. So I guess there's a lot of fear with that China news and Broadcom news. But I think Broadcom is fine, right? I don't own it, but I'm not gonna say anything bearish about that one. 5.5% on the China news. If that's that, it could be maybe a small of a reaction. Let's see, what else do we have? Let's see. All right. So Shri, can you we'll get to there. I don't want to promote just yet. Wait, are you the next question? Morning, Jose. Herculano. Wilson, Nvidia's been taking a beating lately. Nvidia's always taking a beating, but somehow it still outperformed the market last year. I think the same thing's going to happen. It seems like Nvidia's going to take a beating, but I think it's still going to outperform the market this year. Con, morning sun to you too. Shri, can you explain, share the details in your, like what you cover and sell? So, I mean, if you notice right here on YouTube, it's more quick Q&A sessions, it's quick videos. I do heavy deep dives on the platform, like heavy deep dives. Something I can't do enough 30, 40, you guys would get bored. So if you want, I think here's a recent analysis I just covered, for example, Marvell technology. We had, I did a deep dive on it. CES, we kind of talked about their networking solutions there. CES just had, Nvidia did a CES Q&A session. We talked about it. We talked about what the DGX cloud strategy retreat is going to happen. So I do a mixture of heavy deep dives there that on companies you might not like, and tend to do really bad on YouTube. I'm actually not even showing anything. My apologies there. So this is what the chip happened community. So deep dives, for example, here on Marvell technology, deep dives on like CES. When earnings come out, I do heavy deep dives. Micron, for example, Broadcom earnings. So extreme synopsis, Amcor, Oracle, Supermicro, and now with earnings season starting back up, that's what you get there. You get like, I also have a portfolio in there, the what the chip happened portfolio. So thanks, Shri, for allowing me to plug that into this live stream. And if you use code 2026, you get 33% off. Size matters. How could you, Griffin? Thanks for the follow. Isn't both CoreWeave and Nebius at huge risk, depreciation, obsolescence risk with how fast Nvidia is innovating? You would think so, Edward, right? But the H100s are still being used. The H200s we saw increase in pricing yesterday. So AI demand is going to continue to use older generations. And I do believe these GPUs have at least 5 to 7 years of usage. So for that, I'm not worried. If you're worried about NVIDIA's innovation, then eating up the other ones, then obviously that would be a thing. The biggest thing to also understand is you can only make so many chips per year, right? NVIDIA can only make so many Vera Rubins. There's a supply constraint, there's a power constraint. So that's another thing, that you can't get enough Vera, so you have to use Blackwell, you have to use Hopper. If there was a market, if there was a world, if there was a world that you can make infinite chips in 1 year, then yes, I would be worried about depreciation and the risk of GPUs going down. But we're not in that world. We're nowhere near that world. Chips, power, and everything building these infrastructures become a massive constraint. So for that, I'm not too worried about that just yet. Maybe it would be in maybe a few years, but at least for right now, no. What do you think of starting a position in Navitas now? Navitas is actually, I think, presenting in let's go to, let me open up quarter. Let's open up quarter. Long term, there's opportunity for Navitas, however you pronounce it. But I want to see that we're getting closer to those 800 volt DC data center solutions. Let me just, I think today's Wednesday, right? So they are going live today at around 12:15. I'm probably going to read this a little bit more. They have their investor presentation. Right now, I would say it's short term, it's going to be extremely volatile. Extremely volatile. Let me just see their investor presentation. Extremely volatile as they continue to push into this high power AI market. This is the other thing that kind of gets me a little bit worried, is their serviceable addressable market is not as crazy as you would think, right? I mean, for AI data centers, $2.5 billion at 2030. If these numbers were a little bit bigger, maybe that would excite me a little bit more for Navitas. But in the short term, this is going to be a volatile stock that any type of press release can drive the stock to new levels. I think today is down, right? Navitas stock. It's pulling up. Let's see what else we have here. So if I was, it is, I'm butchering all these things. My apologies. If I was to open up, I would never go heavy on Navitas. It's more of like a, speculative with long-term opportunity in the AI market. What's going on, Big Buck? How's everything? Star Buccaneers has been a true OG. Same with I am SSB. For some reason, I always said I'm Super Saiyan B, but I don't know it. I'm Super Saiyan Brawly, but that's just me. Um, Neil. Okay. Hi. What's going on, Neil? Am I the only one who's invested in MPWR? Is it going? MPWR should be doing good, right? I mean, it's focusing a lot on. I think you are. Year to date, 5% already. Past year, they had a massive downfall here, right? I wonder when you got in, Big Buck. But MPWR definitely helps with the AI data centers with that analog power, right? I think if we go, let's look MPWR really quickly, just so people would want to know what this company is about. Investors presentation. I know, guys, I got all the cool tools. MPWR. I have an image. I know. So there are data centers, robotics, but they used to have a pretty cool image. AI GPUs are going to increase power consumption. Very well. Core VR. Oh wow, I didn't know they were with Monolithic. They also are a pretty critical moment there with GPU power driving today. CPU server boards, GPU AI servers, racks, data centers over time. I think this is the massive, a top level. This is the exciting thing about Monolithic, right? Market cap of $46 billion, and you're talking about just massive market here in the power solution. All right, let's see. Let's get all these questions answered. Do you think 2026 will be a stronger or weaker year for tech and the overall market than 2025? I think stronger. I mean, I think AI continues to innovate, Ryan. And yeah, we all love Neo. Congratulations, Andrew. Say hi to Neo next time you see him. I think I was just talking to him actually yesterday. With the importance of memory for inference, I'm skeptical how Nvidia can keep putting out better chips than its competitor, putting question to Nvidia, keeping it at a high price. With the Wilson, let's think about this. With the importance of memory for inference, I'm skeptical how Nvidia can keep putting out better chips than its competitors, putting questions to Nvidia, keeping its high price. So it's not just the memory, right? For inference. If that was the thing, then Micron would be making the chips. It's also about the scale up approach, right? I mean, I think the biggest thing for it's unified memory. That's the question. It's Wilson unified memory. It's who can do the best unified memory together. And then it's also it's different memory solutions. Is HBM really going to be needed all the time? We're seeing certain companies start to do AI chips now with like lower power DDR solutions. We see Grok using other types of solutions as well. So I think it's more who can create a better unified memory. And NVIDIA is actually doing it really good right now with the NVL72. AMD is actually doing it as well with their Helios rack. But eventually, who can scale up even more and faster. I think scale up and unified memory is more crucial than the actual individual memory itself. It's who can put all these stuff together the right way. What is everyone buying? Austin, would love to hear. Yeah, let me know in the chat. What are people buying? Care to share any thoughts on now? Unfortunately, now or nowhere, man. I see, because now here, man. Depends on how. I guess I'm gonna go with now here, man. Since you ask about now, right now, I don't have any thoughts on now. I don't service now, right? I mean, the software space has definitely taken quite a hit in the industry right now. But I wouldn't be. I don't follow it, so I don't. The software industry is not one I can discuss too much in. but there's just been a lot. The only thing I could say is there's been a lot of negative sentiment into the software space that eventually there becomes a rubber band effect, right? Eventually you pull too much and it ends up pulling the other way instead. Do I own Broadcom, Ryan Walker? I do not own Broadcom. Um, I feel like sometimes exposure to Nvidia, I'm going to get similar style returns. Simon, CoreWeave has the biggest, yes, for now, but Iron has the bigger energize, but yes. And then after that, Simon, we have to think about if you have the biggest energized at the moment, what is the reliability, right? Well, are your GPUs always running? How? I, I guess I don't follow Iron that much, Simon. So maybe you can tell me a little bit more. But one thing that makes CoreWeaves really good is the reliability of uptime on GPUs is crazy compared to some of its competitors. And I wonder how Iron will be able to make sure that, hey, look, our GPUs are on and are reliable just as much as some of the top competitors. Uh, let's see. Come on, some questions. I got to scroll up all the way up. Hold on. I don't know why I keep scrolling down. I wonder if I could change that. I probably can't. Um, but Robert, it's the Hispanic European Jose. Okay. Yo, come on, chat. All right. What about Amcor? I think we talk about Amcor, not one that I follow yet. So on the top level overview, right? They're really good with US advanced packaging. They have a strong manufacturing line here in the United States. Advanced packaging is a massive constraint in the AI ecosystem right now, with everything being US built first. There's that excitement with Amcor, right? I don't know too much about the competitors outside of it. They do have a great partnership with TSMC. So I see the high bullish level of it. I don't know too much to really discuss the bearish thesis on it. Let's see, what else do we have here? This is the great. I like all these questions, guys. It helps the episode go pretty. Thoughts on buying Netflix? No, not sure why. I don't know if it's at a great valuation for me to even kind of step away into the outside of the AI market, which I normally follow through. So no thoughts there. Edward, and last question. Seems like power constraints is the slow moving freight train that will slow AI expansions to a crawl. I don't see anything that addresses that issue within the next 2 to 3 years. There's still a lot of older CPU data centers that can still be upgraded if needed, in my opinion. If that's an actual issue, if you can't build more data centers due to power, I still believe there's older models. Not that there's a lot of CPU only servers that could eventually be upgraded. So I don't think that's going to be much of an issue just yet. I think it. If I may be honest, Edward, I think power constraints is a blessing in disguise. It makes sure, um, it makes sure that companies can't overinvest, right? Imagine if there was infinite power. If there was infinite power, everybody would just be buying all these crazy GPUs and everybody would be building all these crazy data centers, and there would be an AI glut of GPUs. But because of power constraints, it forces companies to actually be someone it controls them. They theoretically can't just throw infinite paychecks. And because of the power constraint, I believe it's going to allow, because no one's throwing infinite money, it's going to allow the AI wave to actually be to last longer, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see, what else do we have here? Thanks to China. Thank you, China. Are you bullish on Navitas? I'm not bullish on Navitas. I'm not bearish on it. I just think in the short term, it's more of one that moves with press release. I think the actual results are not going to happen until at least the end of this year, maybe even the beginning or mid next year. So there's still time for the financial story. I think Navitas at the moment is more of a story itself. if that makes sense. And the story itself can actually could do well, right? I mean, if momentum is with you in the market, stock prices can go up a nice amount. Let's see. Axon was in the 500s not too long ago. What is it at now? I know this is one I think you like their CEO, right? Right, Big Buck? 629. I don't know why I'm actually getting hungry now. 500. Very nice. Axon. Any thoughts on PBYN? Marek, if this is a I don't I don't deal with the fintech market. I think this is a fintech market. I think maybe Neo might have better things. Marvell, any news? I mean, they did announce some great updates with a few acquisitions. They're really focusing on a scale up approach with some of these new acquisitions. And that I think that's pretty much it. They did just have a conference. They talk about how many people look at Marvell for just the XPU side, but they're actually pretty strong in the networking side, especially the scale up approach that they believe they're actually going to be massive winners. Outside of that, of what's moving the stock down, I don't know. It could just be a negative momentum with a lot of, especially its competitor. Right, Broadcom is down, Nvidia is down. Only AMD and Intel, my favorites, one of my favorite semiconductors and one of your favorite semiconductor stocks, seem to be green today. So no real news there on Marvell. Yo, people, I wonder, can I make this? Hold on. Let's see what else we have here. I'm trying to get every single chat. Good morning, Reds. Can you talk about why AMD spiked 10% from 2 days ago? But they did get I talked about it in yesterday's video. They did get an upgrade by an analyst yesterday about the CPU market being pretty constrained right now. So it seems like CPUs are sold out for nearly 2026, which would do well for AMD. The analyst did increase their price target to $270, and they also gave a pretty exciting revenue of about $14 billion for AI GPUs for this year. So I think that was one of the main reasons AMD saw a strong reaction yesterday, and could be just a segue from today as well. Oh my God, I'm scrolling up pretty high. Software is the sector that seems the most abused, and is seemingly most of. I mean, the other thing with the software market, right? Nowhere Man 9407 is software used to be a market where you used to have very high margins. Now that question has changed dramatically, right? Is with AI investments and with AI being a consumption-based company or a consumption-based business model, will software companies have to invest more in AI R&D? Will they have to pay some money for those consumptions and not pass the true cost to all their customers? What does that deal with the margins in the future? So I think that's causing a lot of fear of the overall typical software market theme. And is that market changing over time? Which penny stock do you like? I mean, I don't know if I like many. OSS is one that I've talked about a few times in the channel. So OSS is one that I own, but I think that was, and if you consider Aehr Test System is less than $1 billion. It depends what you consider a penny stock. But under $1 billion, those are the only two that I own. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see where we are at in questions. Damn it. I'm trying to find these, but you people keep scrolling me down. This dude is leaving paycheck to paycheck. LIM, good luck to Nvidia. Am I living paycheck to paycheck? I wish. No, I don't wish. I'm definitely not living paycheck to paycheck. AMD Lisa, go Juan. I mean, I own AMD as well. So I think this is the funny thing about people. It's just because I'm bullish Nvidia means I'm anti AMD. No, those two are some of my biggest positions in my overall portfolio. AMD new ARM chip. What new ARM chip, Lyndon? Are we talking about some other FPGA and other solutions? Jose has multiple Lambos. My kid has I wish. um, no, I think my kid might have. No, I won't say that. Boo, 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 boo. It's been, all right, I'm gonna actually start from the bottom. It's been a long time since I've heard someone say advanced money destroyer. What a turnaround. It actually has, right? I mean, actually, has it? It's been like 3 months. I think like 3, 4 months ago, no one, everybody hated AMD. Is 4 months really that long? Hi, Jose. What are your thoughts on Hive? I've talked a little bit about it ever since I did a quick video on like some of the high performance AI miner companies, high performance computing that are shifting from AI miners to AI. Not anything top level. I think that's just the biggest top level that I have is, or anything 2 level. The biggest top level is it's a minor company that is shifting into high performance computing. There's some benefit from it. There's so many players here. That it's definitely a competitive landscape. But in the market where power shells are limited, you're seeing these massive long-term deals. Stock price sentiment is very strong for them. But I really focus right now in CoreWeave and Nebius are my 2 plays for AI data centers, and that's where I'm putting most of my head in. Jose, can you explain why you like OSS? So OSS has been one that I've talked about, I think even multiple years ago. I come from the for those that are not familiar, I'm an electrical engineer. I used to work at a company that really focused on DoD stuff. OSS is one of those companies that actually works on creating edge computing for ruggedized system. There's not many players that do that. They have H100, they have a partner with Nvidia, and to be able to bring AI compute to, for example, a tank, a helicopter, a special military plane, to show cars, you need to be able to withstand certain types of vibration, certain types of heat, certain types of fluctuation in all types of variables. And that's it. Now, and military spending, I think, is going to continue to grow dramatically with AI. Now, this is a super small position in my overall portfolio. I know there's probably other people that follow it a lot more than that, but I think that's a very top level explanation of it. Um, it's not one that I don't have the guts to make it a massive position of our portfolio, but with AI going hard, with spending going hard, um, there's that. All right, let me try to. I know there were some people. I got to say hi to some people. Today's AMD's price drop and shot up again, but Nvidia keeps sliding. Looked very funny to me. I hope not. Then there shouldn't be any joy, and they both should go up. That's why that would be very exciting. Why is Nvidia down? I think just the overall market. We saw a lot of AI stocks, Broadcom, Marvell. Um, Maybe the fears of Broadcom's China could be bringing some fear to Nvidia in China. Yes, I do think Nvidia could hit $200 this year. What's going on? I'm beneficial. Rocket Lab is up over 90% since November. That is crazy. I am buying a new Garmin watch on Amazon. I see what people are buying. Got it. Got it. Got it. That makes sense. Yeah, I think in the streets. I'm from in the streets. I'm holding on cash. Right. I'm not going crazy buying. I don't know if I'm holding on cash, but I'm not buying anything on the recent downturn. Um, Marvell, we talked about that one. CoreWeave 4.7 on the red day, even though there is news of shareholder. Can you explain this? I think the biggest thing with CoreWeave is just a few days ago, January 13th, which was yesterday, we did see reports that that delayed data center that CoreWeave had is actually moving faster than they originally expected after the delay, and they turned on 16,000 GPUs already. They mentioned that in one day, they brought online around 2,000 GPUs, and supposedly this is going to be an open AI data center. So that delayed data center seems to no longer be an issue, and I think that's what's creating some form of excitement for CoreWeave today. Um, right. Hey June, I haven't seen June. I'm pretty sure I keep seeing her, but I can't show things. But yes, hey June. Um, Let me see. I gotta go back. I can't just saying hello. What's going on, Chris? Thanks for that. Rocket Lab is blasting off. I can. I wonder if I do this. Bob added some SMH. I think semiconductor ETFs are the best ETFs for my overall portfolio, right? If I can't buy anything, I usually just end up putting money on a semiconductor ETF. As I think chips are going to run the next 10 years. Great show. Jose, appreciate you. Thank you, Johnny Day. Appreciate you too. John, do you agree that if Nvidia doesn't hit new highs by March, April, we have a big problem? I don't know if I would agree with that, right? I don't ever put a price target for a certain day. June, thank you for that. I appreciate it. You'll be able to comment again. I saw your comment earlier, but I couldn't show on stream. What's going on, June? I don't try to put a price target for a certain date, because then I feel like that creates unnecessary stress, right? I guess I'm just really looking for continued business innovation. And I did 2 interviews with Nvidia's executive team members, and I believe they're going to continue to do really well. And I think this market is very starving of compute, that there's still massive opportunity for Nvidia. We don't even have the robots yet, right? Well, we don't have robotics. We don't have complete autonomous driving vehicles. Drones aren't dropping wings at my house just yet. So I think there's still much here. Thoughts on Rubrik? I don't follow this one, Kendo. Cybersecurity sector. I think the only cybersecurity stock that I have is CrowdStrike. And if I was to enter more, I think the sector as a whole is going to definitely shift, right? Especially with things like AI. So that's definitely going to continue to be a thing. I don't follow it too much to understand the difference of the different types of cybersecurity workloads. So for me, I would more likely look at an ETF for a cybersecurity company. I'm pretty sure there's other followers, that people that discuss the cybersecurity market a lot more. When will US allow Nvidia to ship H200 chips? And is that bullish semis as a whole? I think so, right? I mean, the first part. Yesterday, I thought we saw some announcements that things are getting a little bit closer for the US to finally do the agreement. As a whole, I mean, yes, Nvidia H200 uses a lot of analog chips. The building of the servers are actually go through the whole ecosystem. The memory, the analog chips, like I mentioned, the investments in AI cloud and all stuff. So I think it's all bullish for semis as a whole. It also is not just H200. I do believe AMD's MI325X would be able to ship as well. So for the whole ecosystem, I think it would be strong. I mean, China is a huge market. Rubrik is a big NEO stock. That dude, he knows everything. Adam, how about Aehr Test System, Jose? Would love to hear your thoughts. So Aehr Test System, I mean, I own this one. Top level overview, they're a burn-in test company, right? They pretty much stress chips before they go out before manufacturing. They work in various steps of the manufacturing stage. Right now, one of the biggest things that every chip company is trying to do is improve yields, right? If for example, the memory market, if you have better yields at that trade-off ratio of DRAM to HBM, you would be able to provide more HBM. Certain with AI chips as well, when you have all these types of advanced packaging, all these advanced stacking, Aehr Test System benefits from this overall momentum. Then you have Aehr Test System that also benefits in the overall burn-in test of silicon carbide, which if you do move into robotics, I think is going to be a big portion. If EV markets start to pick up, that's also a big opportunity. So I like Aehr Test System. I own it. This is one that I definitely discussed numerous times in my channel. Am I buying right now? Luckily, I was able to buy like in the low teens. I don't know if I'm adding too much just yet. If it was right now, it'd be very small dollar cost average for my portfolio. But again, that's all about that's all about my overall portfolio allocation. The TAM, I think, is getting bigger, Eddie. In their most recent conference, they actually mentioned that they're actually even talking with memory players, right? Memory players wasn't always a thing for them. They moved from EV markets was their key players, right? EV markets was originally where they started in silicon carbide. Then they moved into kind of with the acquisition, I forget of the company, of to AI chips. Now they're moving into kind of form of optics as well. And just most recently, they started to mention that they're actually getting some attention from the memory players. And we know how exciting the memory market is right now. So I think the TAM is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger over time, Eddie. And good to see you, Eddie. What's happening with ARM? I haven't followed ARM as much. I think the biggest aspect of ARM is I'm curious to see if the stock is just seeing a decline. As SoftBank owns a good portion, I wonder if SoftBank is selling just to just to get more acquisition. SoftBank share slide following, and it seems like there's been some downgrades. I think ARM is still going to continue to do well, right? I don't own it. One of my biggest thoughts of ARM has been always that it's been very expensive, right? If you watch old videos of mine or old live streams, one of my biggest hates of ARM was purely valuation. The business made sense. I think ARM is going to be strong in the robotics market, in the automotive market, in the drone market. They're doing really well in the data center market. Just the valuation never made sense to me. I wonder if it's just really weird to see it very close, right? I mean, compared to where it was, but kind of those April lows of 87 and right now sitting at 103. It's looking a little bit interesting to me, but the business as well, I think valuations was always a concern. I'm actually pretty excited with it right now. Yeah, Roy really likes Aehr. Who's Roy? Not sure who Roy is. Why is Nebius and CoreWeave down? I think it's just an overall AI market. I mean, we saw CoreWeave up earlier. I don't know if it's down now after I've been following it, but I don't know. It seems to be just a lot of macro events happening right now. Nothing AI specific that I would say. Do you have anything outside AI? I mean, I think Meta platform. It depends. I feel like I could say all these names, and you would say, yeah, they're part of AI. I mean, I have Meta platforms, right? People would say that's AI, but it's it really it's revenue. It's advertisement revenue. I have Amazon. You could say it's e-commerce, but you would also say it's AI. I have Google, um, and then I have various chip companies as well. I'm tech. I'm definitely all into tech. Outside of AI, the tech that I'm invested in has to have a tailwind with AI. I just believe AI is that story for the next few years. I sold Google to buy Nvidia last month and became a community member. Feels bad, man. Feels bad, man. Nice. Thank you for being a community. I sold Google to buy. I actually, as Google, I think Google is a little bit overextended. Um, but I'm still a Google shareholder. I haven't. I think I've seen you ask about this WVP gaming. I haven't really done much research on avocados AI, Meta's avocado, but now I want avocado. You sold some CoreWeave and bought Oracle today, Nathan. Why? I'm curious to see why you made the shift there. I actually think both will move very similar. Jose, when are we going to talk about and deep dive on Duolingo? I'm not a fan of Duolingo, and usually not in my wheelhouse just yet. I guess maybe in the software, I might want to enter a little bit more in the software space. Prestige, repair, 42, 46. Um, but I don't know. I try to think what would excite me for the future of Duolingo, and nothing like really grabs my attention to do to really kind of find something on it. The sentiment on AMD seems to change day to day. Mad people on Reddit said it's a red flag. Meta has not announced a purchase for Helios after CES. I'm starting to get worried about having faith in Lisa. I don't think so. I mean, I think hmm, Helios. I mean, Meta was a big help designer on that open source on the Helios rack, and Meta is having massive AI compute. I think Meta's gonna buy Helios. I don't think CES. We were expecting to see. I don't know. I don't think they use CES to talk too much about customers, but they had OpenAI. I don't know. I wouldn't consider it a red flag just yet. PayPal, Adobe, Marvell. Would you sell these? I wouldn't. I mean, I like Marvell. I don't own PayPal, so I can't say anything about PayPal. Adobe, I think the market hates Adobe, but I actually like the business evaluations. The question is, when will that happen? When will the market start to enjoy it again? Epic is AMD's highest margin product. It is. And Nathan, we heard that the CPU market is kind of sold out for at least 2026 on the server side. So I guess that's creating a nice of excitement for AMD in the past 2 days. Meta could turn on and off that cash flow at any time. Exactly, Uber shorter. Um, or Uber's hoarder, whichever. I agree. Meta can turn on, and a lot of all these companies can pretty much do that as well right now. When do I think Nvidia will start to make its next big leg up? Either two things: either a few days right before GTC. Usually, you kind of see that excitement before GTC, so that would be the first. Or if we actually get true confirmation of H200s being shipped to China, like actual confirmation. We get a picture of Alibaba's CEO like this with an H200 rack behind him. Like that would be the only two times we actually see a next big leg up. Um, but he has to be like this, and this H200 servers behind him. So how do you like SATA and SoFi? I don't talk much about SoFi and SATA. I don't really follow either, so I'm not the one to talk about them. I know there's a lot of people that cover it. We got Simon here. Jose, I just want to say I'm a full member. Yes, Simon is a GOAT of Jose's What the Chip Happened community, and I get huge amount of value from both Jose and other community members. That's the other thing. We have other community. Simon, appreciate the shout out here. Appreciate it. This is so Nova, right? TSMC announces their revenue early, so they never really wow. They never really wow on revenue beats, but what they do wow on Nova is on revenue expectations and on market commentary. I think I think that's where TSMC wows, and that's where you can get that movement after earnings is commentary on the overall market. If they say, look, we are sold out for the next 3 years, I'm not saying they're going to say that, but if they were to say something like that, that can move the stock, right? Because we know about them now, but we don't know the future. And just, yeah. And the other stuff. All right, I got 5 minutes before I got to go take the little one from the babysitter. So let's see if we can get some more. So, Julian, any thoughts on Qualcomm? Is having bullish perspective bullish perspective on them, but can't catch a bid. Any insight? June, I think it's just like with with other stocks is the market sentiment is still just not there. I mean, Qualcomm at the end of the day is still just seen as a phone company, right? I think if you still think of Qualcomm, probably most analysts just see it as a phone chip company, just the Snapdragon. But like you mentioned, June, they're doing extremely well in the automotive market. I think their automotive revenue has hit a $1 billion. I don't know if it's $1 billion run rate already, or even higher than that, and it's growing at some massive levels. Their chips, in my opinion, are going to go extremely well in all types of IoT devices that are going to be AI local or AI products as well. And then they also announced some form of AI chips, which I don't know how they're going to do. But outside of that, they're also going to be a strong player in the robotics market. Uh, Qualcomm is going to be that stock, June, in my opinion, that it's going to suck for 4 years, or not necessarily an actual timeline, but let's say you own Qualcomm for 5 years, 4 years are going to suck. That year five, that ending year of your where you're kind of giving up on it is when it's just going to shoot up when the market sees the sentiment shift. But I think it's just the market looks at it as a phone company. Jose, would you consider buying Korean ETFs to get exposure to SK Hynix? I mean, I would only do a route like that if I would say South Korean. They probably have a lot of AI actually companies and chip companies. Um, Only if it was a meaningful ETF. I personally wouldn't do it. I don't want exposure to SK Hynix, but it doesn't seem like a dumb move. Um, are you buying the dips and backs? The dips and backs. I don't know what that means. I'm not buying any dips right now though. What's going on, Blake? Mm. People that has more problems now charge so much on credit cards will be paying off debt for the next 4 months. Then taxes comes to try to pay off the rest. Hmm. Let's see what other questions we have. Maestro Invest. I find it how bad Microsoft Copilot is compared to what I see Claude Cowork doing. Microsoft had such a big chance to implement a well-working AI engine, but Copilot is trash. But recently, we did see that Microsoft has become one of Anthropic's largest customer using models across Microsoft products. That could be changing, right, Maestro? We might see some excitement there. Let's see what else. Would you consider buying Broadcom this year? Nova, I don't think so. Even though I've been completely wrong on this stock, I just feel like I would get very similar returns with some of my other semiconductor companies. So I don't see it as much of a exposure for a portfolio management. I don't see much of a asset value being added, right? I think we'll just continue to increase my overall exposure into the space. Um, Dylan, yes, I think I don't know if I'm waiting for more of a pullback. We saw a massive decline on AI stocks just a few months ago. I did heavy buying there. So right now it's just chill mode for me, right? It's really much just chill mode for me. I don't see any of the pullbacks that I'm seeing right now as anything too exciting, right? We saw CoreWeave at the 70s. We saw Nebius at 80s, I believe. We saw Oracle in the 180s. We saw Amazon in the 220s. We saw Metas in the 590s. So that's where I actually took a lot more opportunity to buy. Right now, I'm just chilling, if I'm gonna be honest. Uh, for me, it's a hold. At the moment, I hold it. I'm not buying. So for me, it's a hold. What about for Michael? I don't buy. I'm pretty sure this is fintech. I don't really focus on the fintech space. Now, guys, it's 12 o'clock. I need to go take the little one from the babysitter. So I hope you guys are enjoying this quick 1 hour Q&A sessions where I'm just answering questions. I'm enjoying it, but I got to go and put the little one to sleep. So peace out. See you all tomorrow. And now time for me to awkwardly end the stream. Let's see, end session. I think this is it.